2K crew, what is up? This is episode 37. Welcome, enjoy, sit back, relax. Let's get the show started off with some congratulations. Mr. 2Ks, Mr. Deerslayer.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And all those jokes about that your wife says about you playing hide and seek from deers, this one didn't win.
No. Worked out for me.
Yeah, you showed me a picture. I think it's an absolute hog. And you should probably post that in the 2K group because you are wearing a hashtag 2Ks crew shirt.
It was the first time I wore that shirt.
Lucky fucking shirt. There you go.
It's my new lucky shirt.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure now can we take a quick second and give a shout out to Major League Baseball? Excuse me. This is how the postseason runs. Not taking a month for the fucking postseason. This postseason is clipping along very nicely. And if you're a Nats fan, it's going really nice. We had a very nice game last night with Verlander. I didn't see a lot of it from what I saw. He had a rough first inning, settled in Game 7, I think, and both him and the Big Maple, which he probably his best postseason start in his career, especially against that lineup. James Paxton, big kudos to you, bro. Yeah. I mean, you did something that none of the other Yankee starters could do. Even Tanaka, who's, if you look back in history, his postseason record is up there like a top 5 all time, which I didn't know. He's one of those, it's when it comes to Japanese and Asian pitchers, it always seems like it's more ticky-tacky. It's more, once you see the delivery, once you get used to it, it's fine. But, especially when he came over, he was a fireball throwing 98, 99 mile an hour. Now he's dotting it at 91, 92, but everything has movement. And I think that's helped him out a lot. And, he's had the elbow problems, which most other pitchers would have went Tommy John. He rested it. It healed. So kudos to him. But I still think now, getting back to the national side, my question to you is 2Ks, knowing what we know about rest when the Tigers did it, is this amount of rest good for a team or is it bad?
Well, in a lot of cases, I would say it's good. But with the Nationals, I mean, we touched on it last week. They're probably the hottest team maybe in all of sports right now. I mean, they're the hottest team in baseball for sure. They rode that all the way into the playoffs just as a wild card and then have taken off, since the playoffs have started. So for a team like them, and I don't think they want this time off. No. I think they want to just keep on playing because right now they're playing like the best team in baseball.
And, even going back to the Tigers, I think that was kind of detrimental to what was it, 08?
2006 when
2006, they had time to set their starting rotation. They got that down. But the longer these the other series keeps going and going and going, you can only bring up so many, minor league and instructional league and, mock up a game so many times to where, when you're sitting when you're in play mode, let's say, you got 50,000 people screaming at you. You can't really do that in practice or anything like that. So if you're a Nats fan, which this game is the ALCS, I think is going 7 regardless.
I think you're right.
Oh, I'll take that back. Probably 7 because they have what I hate. I guess both teams are going bullpen tonight, and then which brings the hook with Garrett Cole at home. I don't think the way Garrett Cole's pitching, I don't think anyone
can beat him.
No.
I mean, no, I don't. I agree 100%.
And so, goddamn. With the intensity, no, that's not taking anything away from the Nats. They took care of business. I have a feeling it would have been a lot better series if it had been the Braves instead of the Cards. But it is what it is. The Cards beat the Braves.
Yeah.
So And I saw that Freddie Freeman is getting elbow surgery, so maybe that had a little bit to do with his postseason little drought that he was on, which is understandable. And so I think we're in for a treat tonight. And if it gets there, I think the Astro fans are in for a treat tomorrow night.
Yeah.
And I would be... It wouldn't shock me if the Yankees pull it off. It wouldn't shock me at all. No. Would not shock me at all.
It wouldn't shock me if the Astros win it tonight. And, I mean, it wouldn't shock me at all. I mean, I think we talked about it last week a little bit. I think the two best teams in baseball are playing against each other right now. And I do think that whoever wins this series is going to go on and to win it all.
Mm-hmm.
If the Nationals would have been able to just keep on riding it and went, sweep the Cardinals, and if they would have been able to play against Yankees Astros the very next day, hey, we might be looking at something different. But to me, the rest that they're getting, I'm sure they're enjoying the rest. But I think at the same time, I think it hurts them. I don't think when you're hot like that, you just want to keep on playing.
Yep. I totally agree. And now the one thing that does, whomever comes out of the AL, that they're facing a Nats team, like we've said, that their pitching's unbelievable. Probably second only to the Astros. And with that being said, Zach Greinke's pitched okay. Won his last start, which that was kind of the with the Game 4 and the postponing of Game 4, that benefited the Astros a lot because they could shift their rotation. But he had a rough first couple innings, and after that settled in.
That was I was very happy with Major League Baseball as a whole and how they handled that situation. And they basically postponed that game first thing in the morning. Looking at, you knew that it was going to rain all day. Yeah. I'm glad that they didn't drag it out. These are the biggest games in baseball all season. I'm glad they didn't try to drag it out and try to force something in, or having these guys play out in the rain or anything like that. I'm glad they just postponed it. We'll try again tomorrow. We know the weather's going to be better. There's just no... I mean, you're in postseason baseball. These guys are getting this mindset that, hey, we got to play tonight. And by just making the call early in the day, hey, they can relax.
Yeah, you're not getting the day off. You're not getting a starter up, warming up, warming up for a game he knows he's not going into.
Yep.
Now, what's detrimental about that is the bullpens. And especially this day and age where everything is, if you get 3 innings out of your fucking starter, that's a great thing. So both both managers, they're going to earn their money when it comes to how they handle the bullpen. Because I saw or heard they were talking about the Yankees bullpen. No guy has gone 3 days in a row. It's always been 2 days and then an off day, 2 days and an off day. Especially with the Yankees being, backed into a corner. One more loss, and they're done. It's pretty much all hands on fucking deck. You're managing for today, get past today, and then we can look into tomorrow when it gets there. I think that the Astros are a little bit better set up going into this bullpen day today, because there's 2 relievers the Yankees haven't seen yet this series. If you had to ask me, I think Peacock's going to get the ball first. And if he gives you, which Peacock's, he was a starter, and so I have all the faith in the world that if everything works out right, he could give you 5 easy innings.
Absolutely.
It's just keeping the ball in the park, which that was the big crusher last night. What was it, a 3-run home run? And off the foul pole. But we haven't really seen a lot of where during the regular season the ball is just flying out, and the wind's blowing out to left, out towards left in Yankee Stadium. I think Sanchez had 1, and I think the Astros maybe hit 3 in 2 games. So it's kind of a flip flop from the regular season. Now you're seeing better pitching in the postseason, which I think is accounting for a lot of that. Which I love because it's always the adage, good pitching beats good hitting any day of the week. But yeah, I think I'm super excited to watch this game tonight because I'm not for the pitching because like I said, I hate these bullpen days.
Mm-hmm.
I get it during the regular season. I get it. During the playoffs, come the fuck on. Come the fuck on. But if it goes game 7, you got Garrett Cole. Okay. Yep. And if it doesn't go 7, you got Garrett Cole slated game 1.
Mm-hmm.
I get that.
Yep.
And having a 3-2 lead, Astros can do that.
Yeah.
So big shout out to them. And I did see that they did interview Bryce Harper. And of course, they asked him, well, how do you feel about the Nats' success? And he handled it like a pro.
Yeah.
Which I don't really think anyone that's a sports fan would have said it. He'd be like, oh, fuck those guys. Fuck those motherfuckers. They wouldn't give me my money. He's not that type of guy.
No.
He's not that type of guy. And before we get off baseball, Joe Madden is gainfully employed again.
Yep.
Big shocker. Goes to the Angels.
Yep.
Big shocker. Like, and I've posted it all over social media, and we've even talked about it. Him in San Diego would have been amazing.
Oh yeah.
Would have been amazing. But you know what? I didn't know how deep roots he has until a couple days ago. He was one of the coaches under Mike Scioscia.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like the Angels sent the Padawan out to gain some more experience, live life, and now they welcome him back with open arms. I was kind of shocked it was only a 3-year deal, but with coaches, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. But I have a feeling that he's the right person to handle that kind of odd situation they have going over there, because it can't be easy managing Ohtani.
No.
And that it takes a special person, and Brad Ausmus is special, but not in that realm.
No.
Not in that realm.
No.
And if you look at what he allowed or brought out in the players in Chicago, if you had a more maybe coach with an iron fist mentality, I don't think you're getting the most out of Javi Baez. He let him grow, mature, and express himself the way he does now, which is the player that you and I really like.
Yeah.
As well as Bryant. And, he was fully on board with the whole Brizzo thing. And he was right for that situation for the time in those players' careers. And now it's like, well, if you're him, you look at it and you're like, well, taking these guys, we won a title. I've helped them to get from where they were to where they are now, which are superstars. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's time for a new challenge. Mm-hmm. And it's not a bad gig when you can coach Mike Trout.
Yeah.
That's probably the easiest fucking coaching job in the world. But yeah, to have him, and then that's, like I said, that special situation with Ohtani, and I think maybe a bat and an arm, and they're right relevant again.
I think so too.
And if the unfortunate situation with Skaggs, had he still been there, he would have been a huge part of that as well, because he was just finding his way, getting to be a top of the line rotation guy. So keep an eye on that. I'm actually really, really excited to see how Ohtani comes back. I mean, granted, he came back with the bat this year and did extremely well. Extremely well. So let's see what old Joe Madden has. I'm pretty sure he's a wine guy too. So I'm sure it just goes hand in hand. Goes hand in hand. All right, well, since I think you and I are the only ones that are super pumped up about baseball right now, aside from Justin.
Yeah.
So let's move it. Let's talk some football. And wow, it seems like every quarterback is hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, they're I don't know. They're trying. They're making. It seems like it would be the exact opposite, because these days you can't even touch a quarterback.
Especially TB12.
You can't hit them high. You can't hit them low. You can't put your body weight on them. I mean, they got so many quarterback rules to try to protect them, and they're dropping like flies.
Yeah, I made a list here, and this is quarterbacks that were starting last year or this year that aren't playing right now, or have just come off injury. Cam Newton. Now, can't remember his backup's name. But
Kyle Allen.
He's been tearing it up.
I don't think Cam Newton's going to have a job when he gets healthy either. Because that kid is the real deal.
And there's a couple other quarterbacks that I think I would agree with that sentiment as well. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're a Bears fan, do you want Cam in Chicago? You'd have to give up a shit ton.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an upgrade.
Yeah,
I think it's an upgrade,
especially considering there was rumors they were going to try to trade for Eli. I'd rather have Mitchie any day of the week over Eli.
Oh yeah, I mean at this point in their careers, yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what do you got, another year or two out of Eli, and he's going to be done?
I would much rather take the growing pains with Trubinsky than even entertain Eli.
Yeah, I think a lot with Cam Newton, it's a whole different argument because I think a lot of people forget that Newton's like 30 years old. I mean, he's right in the prime of his career, and unfortunately, his numbers have dropped. I think a lot of it is due to injury.
Yes.
And what made Cam so good was he was like the best running back on his team. Also,
he's bigger than any other linebacker in the league.
Yeah.
He trucks offensive linemen,
and due to injuries, and he's got a lot of injuries because of that play style. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be able to do that anymore. So the question is, can Cam sit in the pocket and make throws? And I mean, is he going to ever make throws like Drew Brees and Brady and those guys? Hell no. But I do think that he still has good. You know, he still is a solid quarterback, and I think he's a huge step up from Trubisky.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Mitch, he's missed some time. Is he starting this week?
I think he is.
He is?
Yeah.
And so we can, hopefully he comes in and his collarbone's right, and we can at least table the talk for trading for a quarterback at least till next year. Another interesting one is Nick Foles. Mm-hmm. The whole Minshew mania.
Man.
And you know what? Nick Foles.
Yes.
And I never want a player to get hurt, but I'm glad the situation came because I'm a huge Minshew fan.
Yes. I mean, how can you not be?
Yeah, exactly. He's winning with a team.
He seems like one of those guys that I would want to hang out with.
Like, drink a beer and hang out with.
Yes.
Him and his mustache.
Yes, absolutely. I wish I could have a mustache like that.
Yeah, I could, but mine gets really creepy and nasty.
He pulls it off, though. To me, he don't even look like a creep. He just looks like a cool guy with that mustache.
And I'm pretty sure our YouTube fans don't want to see that creepy stash. But he's balling out, and of course he's not had the level of success I think that some of the other backups have had. What is he, 500?
Yeah, probably about that.
But if little else, I think the Jags have a viable trade bait. Mm-hmm. Like I said, if nothing else, I think I'd ride him.
Oh, I think so too. I think so too. I don't know. I'm in between on that one just because what Foles was able to do. You know, when he stepped in, mm-hmm. I want to see. I was kind of excited going into this year. I mean, wasn't like I was, off the wall, super stoked to watch the Jaguars. But I was kind of excited to see him with his opportunity. This is your team, and unfortunately, it goes down on like the first drive of the first game of the season. And I get it; it's not a season-ending injury, but I would have liked to see, what could he have done? How would it have went down for him? And he does have some pretty good receivers there in Jacksonville. People don't talk about him, a whole lot because they don't have any big names. But
right.
You look at like DJ Chark. He's kind of come off the radar this year and looking good. And I'm trying to remember the other one's name there, but they got some decent receivers there. And you got Leonard Fournette. I think he's a top 10 back in the NFL.
Probably one of the more underrated backs because he's a three down back. Mm-hmm. And there aren't many of those left in football. So, and I'm right there with you. I was kind of excited to see giving a year what Nick Foles could do. Mm-hmm. And
the other receiver was D.D. Westbrook. That was the other one I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But yeah, so their offense they have the weapons, and you know that their defense. I get it. They traded Jalen Ramsey this week, but when I think of Jaguars football over the last 5 years, they've had a pretty solid, stout defense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the whole Ramsey thing's ridiculous to me. But
I think they won that trade.
Yeah,
I think they won the trade. I really do. I mean, I think Jalen Ramsey is maybe the best defensive back in the game right now. But all that the Rams gave up for that,
where are the Rams getting all these picks from? That's what it seems like. They're trading 18 guys a year, and I mean, if you got them, use them. I guess. What they get when they give 2 first rounds and a 4th round or something like that?
I think with the Rams, they're trying to load up on big names. They're opening the new stadium next year. They want to have the stars. They want the star players there. They want to, but I think maybe they're trying a little bit too hard.
Yeah.
And keep your draft picks and draft your stars.
No, I could see getting Ramsey for a first rounder.
Mm-hmm.
You're trading an unknown for a proven commodity.
Mm-hmm.
2 first rounders. I mean, look what the Bears gave up to get Mac.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Mac can disrupt a game easier than Jalen Ramsey could. And it's not because they're, one's a better player than the other one. It's just the simple fact of the position they play. Jalen Ramsey, if he's doing his job right, you'll never hear his name because he has their number 1 receiver locked down the whole fucking game. Whereas with Mac, he's rushing the passer every play. So you're going to see him, you're going to hear his name. He's going to cause havoc. And I think that's more important, which is why he probably garnered a little higher price tag. But you know what? If you're the Jags, you got what you wanted.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
it's addition by subtraction. Just get him the fuck out of here. And it's one of those things too. If I'm, he was, I don't know. It's one of those where if you don't want to be here, get the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
Don't pitch a fit about it. Don't whine and cry. Just get the fuck out.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be an easy job for a coach trying to keep a locker room when you have someone like that.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of going back to Antonio Brown, which he still thinks the Patriots should re-sign him and give him a lot of money, which is retarded. But it's, yeah, I think in the long run, you're right. The Jags won that.
I think so.
Just in my opinion, for getting at least 1 first rounder and getting him the fuck out of there.
Yep. Yeah, and that really irritates me now with players is, they don't like their situation because they're not winning, and their answer is they just want to just trade me. You look at. I know the story early in the season with the Dolphins. They were getting blown away, and Micah Fitzpatrick throws a fit, and he gets his way and gets traded. And I thought it was kind of funny. He gets traded over to the Steelers, who aren't much better. They're going through their woes right now without Roethlisberger,
mm-hmm.
and the Jets are going through some rough times at the beginning of the season, and they lose Darnold because of mono, and then Trevor Siemian ends up getting his leg snapped in half.
That was nasty.
Yeah, and so they're down to their 3rd string quarterback, and you got Jamal Adams, who's
one of the best
decides
linemen.
to go on Twitter and unfollow the Jets, who just happen to be the team that signs his fucking paycheck.
Right.
Stop bitching about the situation that you're in and make that situation better instead of just always taking trying to get the easy way out. And that doesn't. You're not teaching anybody anything by acting that way.
No. And there's a lot of folks that say, well, I got drafted into this team and blah blah blah. I get that, but you know what? Live out your contract. Go sign somewhere else.
Yep.
Go sign somewhere else.
Yep. And if a team decides to make a trade and trade you, under their own decisions,
mm-hmm.
as a business standpoint, then great, and you've been traded. But as a player, I don't think it's fair as a player to just be like, oh, trade me out of here because I'm not winning right now, and
mm-hmm.
I want to play for a winner. Yeah, everybody in the fucking league wants to play for a winner.
And I'm not seeing the Patriots make any of these moves. And yeah, I think we can kind of point the blame at the NBA on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what's pissing me off about, because I love the NFL. It's my favorite sport. Really, my favorite sport to just watch. I love baseball. That's my favorite sport. But my favorite sport to just watch is the NFL. And now you have all these players in the NFL that are acting like the NBA, and it's turning into a fucking soap opera.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Whether it's players fighting with coaches, players fighting with players, players fighting with girlfriends, whatever. Let's move on to the list here. The newest walking wounded, Mr. Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even know Matt Moore's in the fucking league anymore, which last year he wasn't. So
I'm not a Chiefs fan by any means, but man, after that all happened Thursday night, I couldn't, just watching the rest of the game, I was just sick to my stomach because I was, at the time, I didn't, fortunately now after hearing some of the news, it sounds like he's going to be out for maybe close to a month or so, but it's not season ending and
right.
Nothing like that. But at the time, thinking about it, I'm like, man, the best player in the NFL right now, the most exciting player in the NFL to watch, and we might not be able to watch him the rest of the season.
Yeah, I was in. I quoted Travis Kelce saying his knee didn't look like a knee. Yeah, and that it didn't look like much when they showed the replay, but then you saw what happened. Oh, no. So I was watching. I think it was NFL Live the other day, and they were judging by the record. I mean, you really can't. If Mahomes comes back in the 3 to 4 weeks, which they're talking about, they're still a playoff team. They're obviously not going unless something drastic happens with the Pats. I really don't think they're going to be gunning for home field. But they're one of those teams that if they just get in, I don't think it matters where the fuck they play. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't seem like most anything gets under Mahomes' skin.
Mm-hmm. My knock on the Chiefs right now, and I'm not a football expert by any means, but Andy, if you're listening, I have some
run the ball.
Yes, you have. You're so one-dimensional right now. Mm-hmm. I think the weakest point of the Chiefs as a football team is their offensive line. That's the one thing now that teams are able to get pressure to him by only rushing 4, and they're just dropping everybody else back in coverage because the Chiefs are throwing the ball 50 times a game.
Yep.
To me, you have to start running the football and start getting some success there, and then that's going to open up, where you're able to open up Mahomes to just sit back and throw. But right now, Mahomes is throwing off his back foot all the time because he's getting so much, they're giving up so much pressure by teams only rushing 4.
Yep.
And so they're way too one-dimensional, and their offensive line could be what keeps them from being able to compete for a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and they were, and this isn't new for Andy Reid. He's done this many times. Even going back to when he was with Philadelphia, you have one of the best, pretty much all around backs in Brian Westbrook. Mm-hmm. You have McNabb's a runner himself. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't have McNabb throwing 45, 50 times, especially back then.
Nope.
And if you are throwing it, I mean, granted, he was throwing a lot of those to Westbrook. Westbrook was a fantasy stud back in the day. I mean, he was like pre-LaDainian Tomlinson. That's the guy you wanted. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that it's not the first time, and it seems like anytime he gets backed into a corner, he tries to throw his way out of it.
Yep.
And I can understand, you're very enamored with Mahomes and what he can do.
I mean, he can make every throw.
But why not make it easier for him to do that?
Yep.
And you have legit backs.
3 of them. You have 3 legit backs.
Yeah. One of them's on my fantasy team. Give him the rock.
Yeah, and the other one's on my fantasy team. Give him the fucking rock.
All right, not as much as my guy, though. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that team responds. Maybe it's one of those injuries where everyone's like, all right, fuck it, it's our job now.
Yeah. And you know what? And Matt Moore is not someone to just shit on.
No.
He's won football games in the NFL.
He had a pretty good career. What was it with
Miami?
Miami, yeah.
Yeah, and he's won football games. He knows what it takes. Mm-hmm. Is he Mahomes? Absolutely not.
No one in the league's Mahomes.
But you still have Travis Kelce. You have 3 legitimate backs. You have Tyreek Hill, who may be the scariest weapon there is in the NFL.
Hopefully you get Sammy Watkins back.
Yes, you have, and after that, they still have 2 or 3 other receivers that it seems like are just crazy athletes. that
2 of which they brought from the stands.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. But Matt Moore, I mean, they will be fine. They will be able to ride this 3 or 4 weeks that Mahomes is gone. Matt Moore will ride it out. He's a pro. He knows how to, So I think they'll be fine.
And kind of moving to, from one legitimate backup to the next, Mr. Breeze. It looks like he's coming back pretty soon.
Mm-hmm.
They said that he probably will have to wear a brace on his thumb for the rest of the season at least. But he's very optimistic. He's throwing the ball. And Teddy Two Gloves, he's pretty much kept that seat pretty warm for Drew when he comes back.
Yep. He's done it. I mean, you can't ask for anything more. I mean, he's done his job. He hasn't tried to do too much. Nope. He's just been consistent. They have one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Shockingly.
Yeah.
It seems like Drew Brees team never equates to defense. Good defense, kind of like Peyton Manning until he got to Denver. And Teddy Bridgewater is just one of those stories that, the dude's knee exploded. He almost died. And for him to come back fully and do what he's doing, yes, New Orleans paid him. He's the top paid backup quarterback. But I think in a lot of other could he start in Miami? Yep. Yeah. Could he start in Jacksonville? Yep. Could he start in Cincinnati? Yep. So, yeah, you have to pay that guy a little bit more. But look what it's doing. He's not only kept this team afloat, he's fucking winning games. And if he can do this with like you said, oh, hell. But no, it's fascinating what he's doing. I'm a huge Bridgewater fan just because of his story. I mean, come on, you got to be fucking heartless if you're not behind him and super stoked for him. But yeah, that's keeping my Super Bowl pick alive. So Teddy Two Gloves, thank you. We already touched on Darnold with his mono, which is weird for an adult male to get, but I'm neither judging nor I am judging. And I was kind of hesitant because the backups they ran through there didn't do good. He made a big difference when he came back last week. They look like a whole different team. You got Le'Veon, which I didn't hear pretty much a peep or anything out of while Darnold was down. So I'm assuming he just was kind of lackluster like the rest of the fucking team. But no, it seemed like he came back, fresh new breath of life, and they won last week, didn't they? Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. So maybe I'm a Darnold fan just because I saw him pick apart Notre Dame a couple times, and not to say that Notre Dame's defense has been world beaters, but they've always been relatively good since, especially the era that which we're talking about. And he just seems like a good kid. He really does. So, yeah, for him to come back, and I mean the Jets are a dumpster fire anyway, and for him to kind of throw some water on that at least, good for him.
Yep.
Good for him. Yep. Good that he's back. And I didn't know mono could fuck with your spleen. Yeah, he almost had a ruptured spleen. That's no good. That's no good. That's like Chris Sims style. I don't know how anyone ruptures a spleen. It didn't.
Jason Witten.
Yeah.
Did there a couple years ago.
Yeah.
He was trying to play through it, and the doctors wouldn't let him, and it was pissing him off. And it was like,
fucking man up.
Hey man, you
could die.
Probably sit this one out.
Yeah. And then we kind of touched on a little bit too with the Steelers. Roethlisberger goes down pretty much with Tommy John, and his backup Mason Rudolph I think is going to be a good quarterback, and he got his bell rung. And then this third string kid, not too bad either.
Yeah,
I have no idea. I didn't write his name down like an idiot, but
no, the only thing I took out of the Monday night game last week was he's pretty good at with the duck calls.
Yeah,
they were showing all that, and I was like, wow, that's pretty impressive. If he doesn't make it in the NFL, probably make it out in Ducks Unlimited or something.
Hook up with the Duck Dynasty crew. But no, that's that to me. Obviously, Ben's going to be your. If you're a Steelers fan, Ben's going to be who you want to ride.
Oh yeah.
But I think when it's time for him to shut it down, I think Mason Rudolph's going to be a good quarterback.
Yep.
I really do.
I agree.
And like we kind of touched on with some of these other quarterbacks, the third string kid, I don't know your name, got a little trade bait there.
Mm-hmm.
Got a little trade bait, and I think if you ask any Steelers fan, the record isn't where they want it to be, of course. But I think looking forward, I think you're going to be all right.
Yep.
I think you're going to be all right. That defense is coming together nicely. Your boy from Michigan is ball hawking in the middle.
Yeah, he had a good game last week.
So I think the more he plays with the rest of those guys and the more they gel, that's going to be a badass defense. Mm-hmm. Do they still probably need one or two more pieces? Sure. But you look at what Dallas has done with the two inside linebackers they have. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
And to move past Lee and all of his concussions and Jalen Smith and the other kid, what's his name?
Vanderich.
There we go. I can never remember his name. They're probably the two best youngest linebackers in the game right now. So if you're a Steelers fan and you're looking for a positive, this is a positive, because look at what Dallas's defense has done. They become badass, and it starts obviously up front and then inside. So step in the right direction. And then to kind of go not on the injury side of things, but obviously Andrew Luck retired. Mm-hmm. I think Jacoby Brissett's not doing a bad job. That team is. It's had some hiccups.
Yeah, but they're winning. They're winning football games.
Yeah.
They had their bye week last week, but they beat the Chiefs the week before that. I mean,
they did. They did. So if you're a Colts fan, I think you're in good hands.
Yeah.
Is he that star-studded big name that you want? If you're winning games, I don't care who the fuck's back there. Yeah. And then the Giants moving away from Eli Manning, which we already kind of talked about, and Danny Dimes.
I mean, he's kind of shocked the world.
He has. I mean, shocked the fuck out of me. I'll be the first one to apologize.
We ripped on him for weeks.
At least a month.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't just us either. But, yeah, he came out the gate just firing. And doing it, if you look at some of the cast that he's playing with, obviously OBJ is gone. You had Ingram in and out of the lineup. Shepard in and out of the lineup. Saquon is coming back this week. Who are they throwing to? Mm-hmm. I mean, we made the joke about two guys off the street in Kansas City. I think the Giants are doing it with three.
Yeah.
Hey, you're 6 foot tall. You want to strap it up? Just sign this waiver. But no, if you're a Giants fan, I don't think you could ask for a better start.
No, absolutely
to the Danny Dimes era than what you're getting, especially considering the cast around him. So, it was odd the timing they did it, but you know what? That's why they're getting paid millions of dollars, and you and I are not getting paid millions of dollars. Yeah. At least not yet. And the injury bugs kind of spread. It spread around. You know, we hit baseball. We were talking so highly about the Nats and their run, which is it's historic. Mm-hmm. It really is. I almost forgot this. June 1st, the Nationals and the Tigers had the same record on June 1st. The Tigers continued on that trend. Mm-hmm. The Nationals didn't. Mm-hmm. So the likelihood of them being where they are, I think they said is 0.02% or something ridiculous like that. The one thing that I think, in my eyes, could have stalled that is Christian Yelich being healthy the whole year. Mm-hmm. I don't think that the Nats make the playoffs even. Mm-hmm. They don't get that wild card spot. Mm-hmm. And so not saying an injury is good by any means, but this is a whole new story, a whole new, novel when it comes to that with that injury. And yeah, hitting a ball off your kneecap can't feel good. Can't feel good.
No.
And now we've got Mr. NBA, Mr. Zion.
Yeah.
And I know when we first started the podcast, I don't think it was probably the first 6 or 7 episodes that we didn't talk about Zion. Now it's been quite a while since we haven't. So the NBA season's starting up, next week?
Yeah.
And Zion tweaked something. I think it was a hammy or something. And they said that he's going to miss the last preseason game, which is fine. LeBron, all the big guys aren't playing in the last preseason game anyway. And now it's come out that he's going to miss multiple weeks, but it's not that serious.
Yeah.
When you talk about not that serious, in my eyes, it's a couple days.
Yeah.
A couple days. Multiple weeks? Especially, the NBA season goes on for fucking ever.
Yeah.
But multiple weeks? That seems like a little bit bigger deal than what they're leading on to.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's people making a big deal out of really nothing.
Just because he's Zion?
I mean, I see. Okay, so we might miss 2 or 3 weeks of the regular season. So what is that? 6 or 7 games? To me,
yeah,
it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. Mr. 2Ks, let's move into our favorite game, your favorite game, the country's favorite game. Paycheck and motherfucking onions. Paycheck and onions. Paycheck and onions. So if anyone wants to make us a little music blurb there, so I don't have to do that, that'd be awesome. Mr. 2Ks, lay on me your first pick'em pick.
First pick'em, I'm going. I've kind of been riding LSU for a long time.
I don't blame you.
Mr. Burrows there playing quarterback. He's really impressing me. I think even after last week, I had him. Last week when we went over the Heisman talks, I had him at number 5. I think maybe going into this week, I have him in my top 3 now.
He's definitely opening some eyes. That's for sure. And
I think LSU is a very, very legit championship contender this year. So I'm picking them over Auburn.
All right. I'm my first one. I'm looking at the NFL. I'm looking at the Redskins at the Vikings. No, I'm not taking the Redskins. Taking the Vikings. And my next pick'em is I'm looking at the Big Ten, Wisconsin at Ohio State. I'm taking Ohio State. That's going to be a badass fucking game.
Oh, I think so too.
And as selfish as I am, because it is Notre Dame, Michigan next week, as much as I wanted game day at the Big House for our game, game day is going to Columbus.
Oh, they have to.
Game day is going to Columbus. And this might be a preview of the Big Ten title game.
Absolutely.
That we could see these same 2 teams here in a few weeks. So, but I think Wisconsin hasn't played a defense like Ohio State's. But you could say Ohio State hasn't played a defense like Wisconsin's. Definitely Ohio State hasn't faced a running back like our boy. But Wisconsin hasn't faced Justin Fields.
Yep.
And I think he is going to be the make or break person. I think it's going to be his play that's going to determine if Ohio State wins or loses. And I'm, as much as Jonathan Taylor, we love him. I mean, we've been his biggest fucking fans all year. And Chase Young on the other side. I mean, it's probably going to be one of the best games of the year. But I think Justin Fields, there's just too much. I think it's going to be a big test because it's going to be his biggest game. And the fact that it's in Columbus helps me be more confident in that pick. What's your next pick?
The next pick'em game I'm going with, who would be my pick for NFL MVP right now, and Russell Wilson. And I'm picking Seahawks over the Falcons.
Russ is doing it again.
Yep. He's
doing it again. Doing it, of course, it always seems like he does it quiet because he's on the left coast. But yeah, I have, speaking him, I've never seen someone have as much finesse and touch on a football. When it comes out of his hand, you're like, is it going 20 yards? Because it goes like this on the screen, and it goes 60.
Yeah.
I mean, he can float it. He can fire it. He's healthy.
Yep.
That, and that's another defense, maybe addition by subtraction with all of these guys, and he's got him rolling.
Yep.
I can't disagree with that pick. What's your last pick 'em there, 2Ks?
My last pick 'em game. I know I picked against him last week, and I'm probably being stupid for picking this, but fuck it. I'm just gonna pick it anyways. I'm picking Michigan over Notre Dame. To me, it's a rivalry game. I think Michigan will play their best game of the season, and if this game was in South Bend, I would definitely pick against Michigan. But being that it's in the Big House, Michigan doesn't lose there very often, and I think that they will figure out a way to pull it off.
Now
I really don't feel that way, but I'm
I was gonna ask a question that Michigan's got to get up 2 weeks in a row. Well, 3 if you want to include the Iowa game.
Yep.
Where Notre Dame's coming off a bye. They're this Penn State game that they're playing today. Whew, that's why game day's there. In a whiteout. I think, and this is not taking in who's better, who's this. I just think Notre Dame is very, very fortunate for Michigan to be beaten up for 3 weeks. It's going to be tough. Can Michigan win? Yep. Is it going to be extremely tough? Yep. So we shall see. My last pick'em, I'm staying in the Big Ten, taking Penn State over Michigan State. Penn State over Michigan State because Michigan State doesn't have a quarterback. Well, they do. Somehow he's still leading the Big Ten in passing yards.
Yeah.
But how can you lead in passing yards and score that few points?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Hit me with your paycheck game, if you would, please.
Paycheck game, I'm going the Rams. They got to turn things around eventually. Hopefully the Ramsey trade. I know that we touched on they gave up a lot for it, but you also got a superstar for it.
And he'll have an extra week in the system.
And so you're getting that back. Hopefully some guys, I know the Rams are pretty beat up. I know Gurley's coming back this week also, but they've been beat up on the offensive line. I think they're starting to get healthy. And I'm putting my paycheck on they can at least take out the Bengals, who might be the worst team in the NFL.
Well, it was kind of shitty that someone between the Redskins and Dolphins had to win.
Yeah.
I was actually hoping for a tie because neither one deserved to win.
I'm still looking forward to that Bengals Miami Week 16 game because there might be 2 winless teams in Week 16.
The Tua Bowl, the game you don't want to win. Well, my paycheck game, I'm going to touch on. I'm bringing back one of your picks, and I'm more confident than you are. I'm taking LSU over Auburn. Not to say that Auburn has had a bad season. Gus Malzahn's coaching them up. If you fast forward to next year with that freshman quarterback, I think they're going to be a lot better. LSU's on a fucking tear. Yeah. And it's home. Give me that game all day.
Yeah.
Give me that game all day.
LSU, I mean, they might be the most impressive team in the country to me right now. It's hard to argue Ohio State, but I think LSU's played a little bit more of a schedule so far.
They've played the toughest schedule in anyone in the top 10.
Yeah,
easily.
Ohio State's season is going to be it's a make or break game to me next week with that Wisconsin game. You're going to see, is Ohio State the best team in the country, or are they still not? Are they not there?
Or I mean, we'll see how legit Wisconsin is. You and I we've been riding that Wisconsin bandwagon for all season.
Yep.
And yeah, it's going to be a huge game. And do I think either way, when either team loses, are they done in the Big Ten? No, not at all. Does it hurt their playoff chances? Probably not. The team that loses is going to have to win the Big Ten title. And if you win the Big Ten title and take care of business, I can see you making it.
Yep.
See you making it. What is your Onions game, my kind sir?
Onions game, I'm going Wisconsin over Ohio State. Yeah, we've been huge Jonathan Taylor fans,
Yes, we
and
have.
I think Jonathan Taylor is going to just have a monster game. I think he's gonna kind of wipe out Justin Fields in the Heisman talks. I think Fields will probably have a decent day, but Fields hasn't seen a defense like Wisconsin's, and he's going to see that firsthand. And with the exception of maybe one game this season where Wisconsin looked kind of just mediocre in the Northwestern game,
Yeah.
but every other game that they've played this season, they have just blown their opponent out. They made Michigan look like trash. They fucking destroyed Michigan State last week.
Did I hear a stat that Wisconsin's defense has given up 6 touchdowns and they've scored 6 touchdowns? It's either 4 or 6.
Yeah, could be right.
Which astounds me.
Yeah.
But, like you said, the Big Ten, it always seems like for the top teams, their schedule is backloaded. Instead of being like spread out. It's always been that way. Always been that way. But
I think with Wisconsin, I've been saying it for the last probably 2 or 3 weeks. I think Ohio State is the best. Has looked like on TV, has looked like the best team in the nation. But something tells me, and I'm not ready. I'm saying it now because I'm picking Wisconsin. But something tells me that Wisconsin's a lot better than what people are giving them credit for.
Yes.
I think that when you look at Wisconsin, they're not the sexy pick. They're not the Ohio State. They're not the Bama. They're not the Clemson.
They don't have the Heisman Trophy candidate in the quarterback.
Yes,
which I think is they're not garnering the attention that the other schools are. But you have a Heisman candidate in the fucking running back. If you could give the Heisman to the offensive line, I think they'd get it. Their defense is
stout all the way around.
All the way around.
They have a quarterback. They haven't had a quarterback in years.
And the key to Wisconsin winning that game is I have a very good feeling that you're not going to shut out JT by any means.
No.
But if you hold him under 100 yards and make their quarterback make plays, which he's done, but not against a defense like that. That's why I said when it comes down, I think Fields is going to be what tips the scales for me. Would it shock me either way? If that's why I said this is going to be a badass game. I'm going to be watching probably all of it, and it wouldn't shock me either if it was a 10-12 game or something, 10-13.
I was looking at it, and right now they have Ohio State as a 9.5 favorite.
Well, if you remember right, last week they had Michigan a 3-point favorite over Penn State, and that flipped quick. I think it's 8.5 or something like that.
Yeah.
So, I think the when they lay the odds for the college games are not exactly the right ones, especially a week in advance.
Yep.
But my Onions game, we touched on him before. I'm taking Danny Dimes over the Lie-Downs, and I did have a few folks want me to touch on the Lions game. It was shitty. It was shitty. Wrong calls. Let's leave it at that. We can't do anything about it now.
No.
Morgan, what are you doing? You're too big to fit under there.
You have to be able to turn some of those drives into touchdowns. You can't just keep kicking field goals off of it. But at the end of the day, it's the NFL. Touchdowns aren't easy to come by. Nope. So you got to take points when you. Bottom line is the Lions were the better team.
Yeah.
Monday night, or what was it? Was it Monday night? Sunday?
Yeah, it was Monday.
Monday night. They were the better team. They deserved to win that game. I thought they got hosed. I thought they got screwed. It was unfortunate to watch. But man, the NFL they got some issues that they have to.
And aside from the missed call in the NFC Championship game, it seems like every fucking time this happens, it's against the Lions.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. And I'm not a Lions fan by any means. I root for them. I always do. They're the hometown team, so I root for them. But you're exactly right. It seems like they are always on the wrong side of every single call.
Going back, I mean, you can even start with the Calvin Johnson catch.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Bears fan, and that was a fucking catch.
Absolutely.
That was a catch.
And it just seems like, and it always seems like the Packers are always on the right side of every single controversial call. They are on the right side of it, and that just fucking irritates me.
But yeah, I didn't really want to touch on it because there's really nothing, nothing that we could say that hasn't already been said. So that's our 2 cents. I mean, it sucks. It really does.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's just the NFL as a whole with the officiating this year has just been. I mean, I think most people would agree with me. The NFL is probably the best sport there is to watch. I mean, as far as pulling the most viewers, it's way beyond any sport there is in America. Mm-hmm. And people love to watch football, whether it's watching your favorite team, whether it's following your fantasy team. But I think it's so unfortunate where the game has gone here in the last few years, just with the penalties and they're ready to call every single holding call there is. I mean, if you see a running back bust one for 8 yards, you might as well just count on it coming back because there's going to be a holding call.
Right.
And so they're making every single holding call there is. But then you come up with illegal hands to the face twice where the guy's got his hand inside the shoulder pad.
And the only reason that was called was which maybe it was a little dramatic for on the offensive lineman, but his head went back.
Yeah.
His head went back.
That's because he's getting his ass blasted off the fucking line by Flowers.
I could see why they called it. I'm sure in real time that's all they saw was right to the like you said right to the pad, and his head went back.
But to me, that call is terrible. But the worst call of the whole game is the no call for
13 guys on the field.
Well, Marvin Jones, the Marvin Jones pass. The guy's he's getting tackled. The ball's. I mean, it reminded me so much of Rams Saints game.
Yeah.
And everybody just blew that way out of proportion. I mean, they blew it up so bad that now you can replay.
Yeah.
Pass interference calls, but you get Marvin Jones is getting tackled and he's halfway to the ground before the ball even gets to him, and it's like, what the hell? How do you miss that?
I'm kind of curious how you missed 13 men on the field. I can understand 12.
Yeah.
And 13? 13?
Yeah, it's.
I mean, Matt LaFleur, man, if you can get away with playing 13 dudes on defense, go right ahead.
He's on to something there, I think.
Yeah, maybe it's a trend. Maybe it's a trend.
Yeah, I mean, in a whole, though, if I was a Lions fan, it's so unfortunate because, that was a game where I thought that they really were the better team on the field that night. I thought they deserved every reason to win that game, and I thought that, I hate to say this, and I hate to use this term, but I really 100% feel that the officials took that game away from them. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's the only, I mean, I know the hard ass fans out there are gonna say, well, you can't just kick field goals. You gotta, you gotta score touchdowns when you're down there. And no, that's not the answer. This is the NFL. This isn't high school football. Touchdowns are hard to come by. So, they were getting points basically on all their drives. They had nothing but positive drives all night long. I thought maybe they got a little bit too, conservative in the second half, trying not to lose that game, and trying maybe running the football a little bit too much to me.
Which is shocking for a Lions team to do that. But yeah, you're right.
But no, it is hard to win NFL games, and the Lions did everything that they needed to do to win that game, and officials took that away from them. And I think that it made I went to bed sick that night, just because they got screwed.
I was flip flopping between that and baseball, and I just baseball.
Yep,
baseball. Well, it's about that hour mark. I did want to give a big shout out to my girlfriend Kristen. Her daughter Lily is her senior night last night, and I got to walk with her for her senior night, which was really cool. Really cool. And we get up to the stands, and this is in Three Rivers. We get up in the stands, and they're announcing the officials. And lo and behold, a Marcellus alum, Mr. Bobby Garvelink, was one of the officials. So Bobby, big shout out. Hell of a game he called. And if you hear this, hit me up. Let's have a beer too, because I haven't seen you in a while. Yeah, big shout out. And it was kind of cool that Kristen's son, I was like, hey, you see that official? He's like, yeah. I went to school with him. Did you really? He's like, hey, he's a pretty badass wide receiver too, and a basketball player, and a baseball player. He's like, are you serious? I was like, yeah, I think he was like second team All-State for wide receiver. Really? Yep. Yep. So Bobby, you made your boy look pretty cool. So anything else you'd like to add there, Mr. 2Ks?
Nope, I don't think so.
All right. Well, yeah, we are. It's probably, this is the earliest we've done a podcast. We're jetting off to the big city tonight to celebrate Mr. and Mrs. 2K's anniversary. So happy anniversary, my friend. And we'll leave you with that. Have a great week. And as always, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.